Hello friends, Athena here, and today I thought I'd review the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde palette. This palette generally retails for $67 US, however it is regularly on sale for 40% off throughout the year. I purchased mine last time it was 40% off at Sephora. Huda Beauty is available at Sephora, CultBeauty, and of course Huda Beauty's website. The exterior of the palette is a hard plastic with clear edges, giving it the sort of acrylic beauty drawer look. It has a slightly holographic quality to the picture in the front, and it also includes a mirror within it. Inside the palette you get 18 shades, 9 mattes, 6 shimmers, 2 toppers, and 1 glitter. The palette contains 16.1 grams of product total. This breaks down to about 0.89 grams of product per pan. This is a bit less than I generally like to see. I usually prefer eyeshadow pans to be about 1.2 to 1.5 grams per pan. If you pay the full price of the palette, which is $67 US, this breaks down to about $4.16 per gram of product. If you get it on sale for 40% off, it then breaks down to about $2.48 per gram of shadow. In terms of color scheme, I would consider this a mostly neutral palette with a few pops of color, namely being the blue and the purple shades. Huda Beauty does a lot of neutral palettes that lean a little bit pink, which always attracts me to them, and I find that she always comes up with a very pretty color scheme. My only complaint about this color scheme is that I wish she would have left out the shade Momentum. In my opinion, these lighter nude shades aren't all that flattering on myself or quite as useful to medium or deep toned people. Instead of the shade Momentum, I would have really loved to see a deeper colorful matte. I think that a matte navy blue shade would have really rounded out the blue tones in the palette so that you could have created a completely blue look. You'll see in the look I created that I had to use Vortex in my blue look on the outer V to deepen it up because there was no other deep matte shade that would have really gone with the color scheme I was doing. In terms of quality, I really love Huda Beauty's eyeshadow formulas. In terms of her matte, colorful shadows, I find that Huda Beauty does a really great job of making color easy for people that may not be as used to working with colorful matte shades. Her mattes are always pigmented but really buildable and very easy to blend out. In texture, they tend to be a bit thinner and powderier formulas. I usually find that Huda Beauty's shimmer shades have a nice, thick silicone feeling, which I really like and tends to give a really pretty impact on the eye. The shimmer shades in this palette, however, have quite a few different formulas to them, and not all of them are the very impactful formula that I'm used to. A couple of these, which I'll mark above for you, have sort of a bouncy consistency like the ColourPop Super Shock shadows, and I find these to be much more subtle shimmer shades in this palette. The topper shades are sort of a really nice chunky formula that are very metallic on the eye. And for being toppers, I do find them rather opaque and I feel like they can stand on their own. The shade that really surprised me of the shimmer shades was Mercury. Mercury is a really high impact and reflective blue with sort of a blackened base. And in my opinion, it has an almost duochrome quality where it sort of shifts from blue to purple. I also really enjoyed the shade Nebula, which is the glitter in the palette. The particle size for the glitter was very fine. It gave a really pretty shine on the eye, and it wasn't too thick and chunky like glitters can be. While the shimmer shades and the toppers in this palette don't need a glitter glue, I do prefer to use mine with a glitter glue just to improve wear time and adherence. I would use a glitter glue with the shimmer shade. The particles are fine enough that I don't think you would have much problems if you were to use just a regular eyeshadow base, but since this is polyethylene tetraphthalate glitter, I would advise using a glitter glue just to make sure that everything sticks to your eye and that nothing moves from where you place it. For the shimmers, I recommend using a denser flat shader brush. Your fingers will work, but I found that when I used them, the product adhered a little bit better to my fingers than it did to my eyelid, so I preferred using a brush just to make sure I get the most out of the product. The glitter actually went on really well with my fingers, and I didn't like it as much when I tried using a brush for it. Next, we're going to take a look at some swatches. I'll be finger and brush swatching on bare skin. And I might show you guys Ultraviolet, Nebula, and Mercury on a black base. Now that we've seen some swatches, I'm going to scoot on over this way and then we're going to take a look at ingredients. These ingredient lists are kind of long, so hopefully they're going to fit over here for us. Huda Beauty's website suggests that the ingredients on the packaging are going to be the most up to date, so if you have a different formula, you'll be able to tell from the packaging. Lucky for us, all the matte shades share the same formula, so we're going to take a look at the matte formula first. Talc and cornstarch are going to be the base to this formula. We don't commonly find cornstarch in eyeshadow though. I find it more typically used in setting powders, such as the Peach Perfect setting powder by Too Faced. Next, we're going to find aluminum starch octenyl succinate. This is a viscosity controlling ingredient. It helps with anti-caking, oil absorption, and enhancing spreadability. Other viscosity controlling ingredients in this formula include silica, zinc stearate, and dimethicone cross polymers. Emollient and emulsifying ingredients in this formula are going to include dimethicone, cetyl ethyl hexanoate, and caprylate glycol. The rest of the ingredients in this formula are different colorants to create the different shades. Here we see mica, which is generally a bulking agent. but this formula has a very low concentration of it, which is interesting. These do have ultramarines in them, meaning that they aren't going to be lip safe, and they also include carmine, which means this is not a vegan formula. That covers all the matte shades in the palette. Next we're going to look at a shimmer, a topper, and the glitter shade. For the shimmer shade, let's take a look at Mercury. The first ingredient in this is squalene. This is a skin identical emollient. It's a really great moisturizer for the skin, and it's interesting to see it as the first ingredient in an eyeshadow. Calcium sodium borosilicate, calcium titanium borosilicate, and calcium aluminum borosilicate are all borosilicate glasses that function as bulking agents. Other bulking agents we see are mica and talc. Octyldodecanol is an emollient. Other emollients in this formula include phenyltrimethicone, dimethicone, caprylyl glycol, trimethylsiloxysilicate, and isosteryl neopentanoate. The viscosity controlling ingredients include synthetic fluoroflagopite, silica, alumina, hydrogenated styrene and isoprene copolymers, and tin oxide. There are two preservatives in this formula. One is ethylhexyl glycerin, and the other is this antioxidant, which I'm not going to try to pronounce. The rest of what is listed are colorants. Now we're going to take a look at the formula for Supermoon, the topper shade. The first three ingredients are bulking agents. These are calcium sodium borosilicate, mica, and talc. We have some viscosity controlling ingredients, such as the octododecyl stearoyl stearate, zinc stearate, silica, and tin oxide. Here, the octododecyl stearoyl stearate also functions as an emollient. The other emollients include octododecanol, caprylic triglyceride, hydrogenated polycyclopentadiene, and caprylyl glycol. Hydrogenated polycyclopentadiene was actually a really hard ingredient to get information on. From what I found, it's used a lot in depilatory creams and mascaras. It seems like a mineral oil derivative used to create a waxy coating. For this formula, ethylhexyl glycerin is the preservative and titanium dioxide is used as a colorant, which makes sense because this shade is white. Lastly, let's look at the formula for Nebula, which is the glitter shade. The first ingredient in this glitter is polyethylene tetraphthalate. PET glitter is super common in cosmetics. It's found a lot in the ColourPop glitter shades if you're used to working with those. In this formula, we also see the calcium aluminum borosilicate as well as the calcium sodium borosilicate, which function as bulking agents along with the mica. Squalene and caprylyl glycol are emollients. We have viscosity controlling ingredients such as silica, hydrogenated styrene/isoprene copolymers, and tin oxide. Polyurethane 11 is another interesting ingredient in this eyeshadow formula. It is a film former, which I imagine is aimed towards helping the wear and lasting power of the glitter. For preservatives, we have ethylhexyl glycerin and the antioxidant preservative, and the rest are colorants. That was pretty much it for ingredients. After this, there are going to be two tutorials to show you how some of the purples and blues in the palette work on the eyes. for watching this video. If you'd like to see more content like this, please feel free to like, subscribe, and comment down below what you want to see next.